It is the Zach Sang Show. We got Heather.
Hi.
We got Dan.
Hello.
And we welcome Sam Tsui to the studio.
What is up? Hello.
And obviously said that right. The T is silent.
Yes.
Well,
There's a lot of different ways you can say it. It's actually Tsui in Chinese. I'm half Chinese.
Oh.
So, but when you actually say it in English, you can say shui, sui.
whatever you want.
Yeah.
But not whatever you want. I mean, I'm sure the education process, as you've gone from being random average guy in Pennsylvania to really YouTube cover icon at this point.
Thank you.
It's a big deal. It's the truth. You've been making YouTube covers for
I'm one of the OG YouTube musicians, yeah, and I wear that as a badge of pride.
What year did you start?
I started my sophomore year of college, so that was 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was your first cover?
The very first cover was a High School Musical cover. And I
Nice.
Have This Dance. That was, but that one was did not go viral. That was sitting in obscurity.
That's like High
for a
School
long
Musical
time.
2. That's deep tracks. Like
Yeah,
if you're gonna
deep
pick
tracks.
if you're gonna pick any High School Musical song to cover,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be my first choice.
We did end up doing Breaking Free later on once we had gained some more traction, the iconic High School Musical. But
What was the first cover for you that really changed your life?
the big one initially was this Michael Jackson medley we did,
Yeah.
which was an a cappella. We used this video cloning technique. Everyone was like, "How'd you do it?" And I'm like, "It's pretty easy," but it was effective. We just did a big mashup of a bunch of his hits, and that was the first thing that hit 1 million and got the press, and we got to go on Oprah and do all this stuff. And that was the first oh my God, this has crazy reach if you do it right. And,
I remember watching that cover.
really?
And yeah, I do.
Nice.
I remember watching a lot of your covers because you and Kurt had a style about you.
Mm-hmm.
And the two of you, I mean, from being a viewer, it looked like the two of you really worked well together.
Oh, absolutely. No, we both actually grew up. He also went to the same high school.
Neighbors.
Grew up in the suburbs of Philly, and we knew each other in high school and middle school and high school, and we both happened to go to college together, and that was where we really started. He got into production, and I obviously knew I wanted to write and sing, and it kind of just worked out. We started right when YouTube and all these digital platforms really were coming into their own as the new wave of the way people were consuming media, and I'm glad it all worked out the way it did.
It's crazy. Who had the idea? Who went to who and said, "Yo, there's this thing YouTube, and I think I can sing, and we can make some covers."
Well, it was kind of the perfect just sort of partnership because he was it actually started, he was in this class learning to do music and video production, and he had some little projects, and so he asked me to come in and sing on them, and then together we really were oh wait, there's this new platform, it's called YouTube. Maybe
awesome.
a couple people will watch what we're doing, and yeah, it kind of came about organically, but the rest was history for sure.
Is there a cover that you feel the most attached to?
That's a really good question. I mean, so one of in fact, still the biggest viewed cover is a cover of Just a Dream with Christina Grimmie, which obviously for a lot of reasons is really special to me. It has a crazy amount of views. People loved it since the moment we posted it, and then just with everything that happened, that's really special to me.
But that will live on forever.
Absolutely, no.
By the way, all of Zelda Girl's covers will live on forever,
Oh.
right? That was her username.
Absolutely.
Zelda something.
No. She was phenomenal.
She's another. I mean, she was an OG in that space.
Yeah.
And there was a nice camaraderie amongst YouTube musicians where you realized at a certain point that you had to collaborate with each other.
Oh, there still is. I think in general, being a creator and a musician in the digital space, everyone who's in that area works so hard and has worked really hard for what they've gotten. And so I think there's just this inherent built-in sense of we're all in this together. We're really carving this new space that didn't exist before. So they're really my colleagues, the people that when there was no one else who had advice on this new world because no one else was doing it, we kind of figured it all out together.
It mimics the real music industry, and how people collaborate.
Absolutely, for sure.
What did you learn as a musician doing covers? Because it's not, obviously not your original words, but it is your style, it's your take, it's your translation.
Oh, completely. I mean, I always say I'm so grateful for having started and done these covers the way I did because it was the best like education in pop music ever. Every week, looking at the charts, finding the song that spoke to you, and then really like breaking it apart, deconstructing it, figuring out what makes it tick in terms of songwriting, in terms of production, and then, you know, reassembling it in either my style or mashing it up with other songs.
Yeah.
It's such a great way to like learn what makes a great pop song. And I've learned so much. This new album I'm coming out with, I produced over half of it and co-produced the rest of it, which is something that like a couple years ago I would have been like, I'm a singer, I'm a performer, that's what I do. And I think being in this space, it forces you to like wear all the hats. So now I'm like a producer, which I never would have imagined. And that's all from like the years of just picking apart these great songs and reconstructing them.
How long does it take you to make one of these mashups? Because some of them have like 1,000 different songs all in one, and it's like a 2-minute song at the end of it.
Totally. It can take a long time for sure. I mean, luckily I've done it a lot, so I've gotten good at like streamlining the process. And usually now when I hear a new song that's just come out or whatever, my mind already starts spinning with like, oh, this would be cool if we stripped this down and did this way or reimagine this way. But yeah, luckily it's like, it's the challenge, I think, is to keep it fresh and keep it new for yourself so that it's fresh and new for the audience. So I always try to, every time I do a new cover or mashup or whatever, I try to approach it from a new sort of perspective.
What do you think kept people coming to your covers? Like, was it your voice? Is it the way you translated a song?
You know, I'm not sure. I think it's probably some combination of a lot of things. I definitely like put a lot of work and creativity into the covers. I know that it's the internet is a space that has so much content fighting to be seen. So, you know, you have to make sure you're approaching every single thing you put out with a lot of love and thinking, why are people going to want to spend 3 minutes of their day to watch this when there are many other things they could spend that 3 minutes doing? And I think the first step is just like making sure it's something that I'm having a kick creating and hoping that translates into.
And then the other thing too is like you rely on virality, you know, because I'm sure you have a ton of subscribers and people would tune in from cover to cover, but like having that big hit, a majority of your notoriety comes from having those viral moments.
Of course,
so that also creates pressure as a creator.
For sure. I mean, and I think the way that you know, sort of can approach that best is finding the balance between, right, something that has artistic integrity and that I like doing, but also then getting into the mind of the fans and the fans that support you and saying, what about this that I'm making is going to make them love it so much or find it so interesting that they want to post it to their socials as, you know, saying something about themselves. And I think once you can get into that mindset, you can start to at least think in ways of setting yourself up for things that are going to get a lot of exposure and that the fans are going to like.
But you also don't want to be a slave to the numbers. Like I have a lot of friends who do YouTube who, like, I mean, they live and die by their subscriber count
100%.
And how fast are they getting views? How long are they watching?
And I think having been doing this for a while and being on the front lines of just this whole digital space, obviously YouTube has changed so much. The whole space is like every second there's some new algorithm or this that you can kind of track and follow. So I think to keep your sanity, especially as an artist and someone who at the end of the day loves songwriting and creating, like you have to, the numbers are important for sure. And it's important to be smart and be in addition to learning production, I've become kind of like had to gain a business mind to a certain extent.
You got it.
But also you have to also just trust yourself and trust your art and like not live or die on like how many hits is this one thing getting, because there's always something you can put out tomorrow and it's going to
be somebody eating fake food. Totally. It's going to be slime. It's going to be making a room into a ball pit. Any of the nonsense that gets YouTube views.
Of course,
you see that culture and
of course, yeah, and
you've been
about
there for a while.
Finding the parts of that and the parts of what is at the moment popular on YouTube that makes sense for what you actually want to do. Because I think if you only are chasing what's new and what's flashy, it's going to get old, both personally and for the fans.
It'd be you singing while making slime at the same time and then squishing it together.
Don't give me any ideas, Zach. Come on.
Is there a cover that you've done that you believe deserved more attention?
Oh, gee, that's an interesting question. I mean, the great thing about putting out as much content as I have in the past is that you learn to not ever get too attached to any one thing, which I think has been a great lesson as an artist too. It's easy, I think, when you're creating stuff in kind of like the little bubble of your own house or your own studio to like slave over one thing and get it perfect. And the nice thing about the digital space is like you create something and then you put something out and then you move on to the next thing. And there's kind of a beauty to that because you learn and grow a lot quicker. So no, usually when I put something out, I'm like super proud of it. I love it. And then it's like, I'm not actually going to stress about how many people saw that, I'm just going to learn what I learned from that and move on to creating something awesome and new.
How often do you work on a mashup or think of one and it just doesn't work out? Like you're sitting there trying to blend it and like nothing's working.
Oh my gosh. If you go to my Logic folder on my computer at home, there's like hundreds of projects that are like started and are like half completed. Yeah, no, I definitely won't put something out if it doesn't come to fruition in the way I want it to. So, I think that quality is what's important about maintaining a channel.
Are there leftover videos that never saw the light of day?
Definitely, for sure. There's some that are a couple years old. My guitarist Jason has lost a lot of weight. He looks amazing, and there's this one old video we filmed 2 years ago that I always threaten I'm gonna put it out, and people are gonna think he like gained back all the way. Yes, there's definitely lots of unreleased stuff.
Okay, Cameo. That is your stuff, your work.
Yes.
100% original.
100% original. Wrote it, co-produced it with Peter Thomas, who is amazing. Yeah, super proud of it.
So you're making the transition from covers to your own music. Mm-hmm. What makes you the most nervous?
Yeah, that's funny. I'm actually like not nervous at all. I'm just like chomping at the bit to release it. Because what I was saying with like the fact that I usually am releasing new music like every week, a cover of this and that. And the difference is that these songs I like wrote a while ago have really been kind of perfecting and, spending so much time in the studio making them perfect that it's so weird for me to not be able to just like do it and put it out and see what people think of it. So to sit on it and kind of like shape it is amazing and really gratifying, but I'm just like so eager to put it out. So the fact that Cameo is now out is like, I'm so thrilled.
Is Cameo, like, I could be reading this wrong, but is that about like a one night stand? Like, is it?
A little bit, like a recurring, like, yeah, someone that you maybe want to have a serious relationship with, but they're only ever sort of showing up at, with that like 1 a.m. text.
Yeah.
And you want it to be something more, but sort of the frustration of like realizing, oh shoot, this is never going to kind of move beyond that occasional cameo, if you will.
I love calling a one night stand a cameo.
That's
Just
all
make it a
Dan
cameo.
has ever done. And if he has it his way, we'll ever do.
No.
Well, it's great to make cameos,
When you say
Yeah.
cameo, it makes it sound so much better than one night
Exactly.
stand.
Totally. I had a one night
Euphemism.
Yeah, no, had a cameo last
Had a great
night.
cameo last night.
I love that.
Let's coin that.
I mean, is that personal inspiration on that one, or is it you putting yourself into other people's shoes?
A little bit of both. I mean, my husband is in the room right now, so no more cameos for me.
now.
But yeah, no, it's definitely, when I write, I draw from a combination of personal stuff I've experienced, but also like I have a lot of, super dramatic friends who lead interesting lives. There's a little bit of drawing from the people around me as well.
Are you writing songs? How long have you been writing your own music for?
Oh, forever. I mean, I didn't initially start YouTube or start my music career being like, I want to cover songs
only.
for the rest of my life. No, I've always written music. My goal has always been to be, singer, songwriter, entertainer. So yeah, and over the years I've released original stuff here and there, but this single, which is the first from a new album, I'm super stoked about because, as I said, I co-produced or produced the whole thing. It's very much 100% me, and I think fans are gonna really dig the vibe.
Does the YouTube cover art artist stigma scare you a little bit? Because it exists.
Totally.
You can't shy away from it.
I think what's awesome is that as I said, things move so fast in this world, and I think even in the past year or two, like it's been amazing to watch that stigma change and kind of fade away. I think as people in the industry at large are realizing, oh my gosh, like having a huge digital following or having ownership of your own distribution platform online is like not just like this kind of silly fad. It's like actually hugely important and can be impactful. So I think as that kind of paradigm shift starts to happen in the mainstream sort of label system, I think part of that stigma is falling away.
Yeah.
And I think I'm so proud to have like been a part of that sort of movement. So yeah, I think people are wising up to the fact that, hey, having a large digital following, being a YouTube creator is not actually that different at some point from,
anything else.
other avenues.
Well, I think
Totally agree.
Shawn Mendes is the perfect example of that.
Yeah, 100%. And then you can match Shawn Mendes. You can go back a few years prior to Shawn Mendes. Do you remember that duo, the husband and wife duo?
Yeah.
Carmen?
Carmen, yes.
Carmen. Good friends with Carmen, yeah.
Very talented. They had two, songs at radio. One of them was a decent sized hit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, for after that, it kind of just leveled out.
Well, I think everyone's journey in the space is different. I think what makes it especially hard, like I was saying, is that because musicians who are gaining this following through a digital space, because it's just a new phenomenon, there's like no rule book and there's no playbook. And because all of these algorithms and the way people are consuming things are constantly changing. It's like you kind of are feeling your way in the dark, which can be both an amazing thing because it's giving opportunities to people that never would have been able to do that. But it's also scary because you just don't know sometimes what the right move is to get your music heard or get it seen. And
because there's no rules, you watch your friends Carmen, navigate the system. What do you learn from that?
Oh, well, she has a new project actually, Herbie. She's like has her new artist thing, which is awesome. I think it's about just finding what you can personally be passionate about and making sure that everything you do is like something that you care about and just keep throwing it at the wall. And eventually, if it's good and if you are actually genuinely personally invested, I think that reads to fans. I think fans, especially nowadays, are craving like genuine, earnest stuff because platforms like YouTube give people such a direct connection to the musicians and the personalities. So like they can read, disingenuousness really easily, fans can. So I think it's about making sure that what you're putting out is like, you love it.
YouTube changed what it means to be genuine via media.
Totally.
It did. And it changed the way people need to have relationships with the people who are consuming what they put out.
Yeah,
it's actually beautiful. Yeah,
for the better. I think there are fewer like middlemen between an artist or a personality and the people who are consuming the media. Whereas that narrative isn't being shaped by all of these suits who are throwing money at this and that.
It's authentic.
It's authentic, which is special, and I think is empowering a lot of different underrepresented groups in media, and it's great.
So let's talk about the Cameo music video.
Yes,
there's 4 people in it. 2 girls, 2 guys. Is that 4 one-night stands that you're representing?
Well, yeah. I mean, so for the sort of creative direction of the video, I worked with this amazing director, Jade Ellers, good friend of mine, and we wanted to, through this kind of like artsy dance, tell a couple different stories of different ways that people can kind of come into your life for like these fleeting moments and kind of like ships passing in the night. And we knew we wanted to sort of abstract them. So, they're not like literal. Obviously, it's all set in this moody motel room, and it's these amazing dances choreographed by Kayla Kalbfleisch. Incredible. I was so lucky to work with such amazing people. But and I knew, look, as I said, like there are many underrepresented groups in media and music.
It's important.
Asian. I don't see many other Asian pop singers. I'm gay, and I think these are all things, all underrepresented groups that the digital space has given voices to. So I knew that I wanted the dance not to be about a girl and a guy or a girl and a girl. It's gender was kind of removed from it, and it's just about using dance to tell these interesting, specific stories.
Do you think the sexuality of an artist is important when either being on the receiving end and consuming somebody's art or in the marketing of an artist?
I think as an artist, if you are a member of a disenfranchised or underrepresented group, I think it is important and impactful to express that and make that a part of your brand, because I think what YouTube has done is, there's a lot of little Asian kids when I was growing up, if I wanted to see a pop artist who looked like me, you couldn't really find it because those weren't the people that the labels were putting money into. Or if I wanted to find a gay pop artist, that was a lot harder to find too. And I think
still can't really find them now.
It's, it's still tricky, but I think that the digital space is, cutting out those middlemen or those people saying, your voice deserves to be heard, so we're going to put this money into you and give you radio play or whatever. Now the direct connection, I think, allows for, and I think that's so, I get messages and to have tweet conversations every day from people who are like, it's so inspiring that I can find someone making great pop music who is part of this group that I just, that I identify with, or, I think that's so powerful, and I feel that responsibility really heavily. So I think it doesn't have to totally define an artist or a person.
No,
obviously,
but it's a part of you.
But it's a part of me, and I think not sharing that would be a missed opportunity.
And your hope is that art is genuine and it's authentic to you, and it's an expression of you.
That's the goal. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. Hey, what are you thinking over there?
Well, I just want to know how married life is.
It's great. As I said, my husband Casey is in the studio.
What's up, Casey?
Yes, Casey also fantastic. Casey Breves, fantastic songwriter. We write a lot together. A couple of the songs on the album we co-wrote.
Cool.
It's awesome. We put out a music video last year of our wedding that people freaked out about. Yeah. They loved. And that's an example of kind of like being able to share something like super intimate and special with fans that I think just helps to foster that connection that I really do feel like I wanted to, welcome everyone who supports us into that moment.
Only on YouTube though.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Totally.
Do you, I don't want to be like a negative person or Debbie Downer. Do you have like a backup plan or the backup plan of what you would want to do musically if, the solo stuff didn't happen, or if you wanted to just maybe give up doing covers one day?
Totally. I mean,
do you want to do jingles?
Hey, do you need a jingle?
No.
I can. No,
there's a lot of money in jingles, man.
I'm sure. No, I think what I was saying earlier of the fact that I've been forced to take on all these hats that initially I would never have. I never would have imagined. I edited a lot of the Cameo video. I, shoot and edit most of my own personal videos, color them, produce them, mix them, master them.
You do everything.
All this stuff is stuff that I never would have taken on had I not kind of found myself in this position where I can create my own stuff. And I'm so grateful. So yeah, I think the fact that I've learned all those skills, I am, we're getting more into writing and producing for other artists and doing video stuff for other artists. And so, yeah, I will always make music and continue to put it out. Whether or not people will consume it, I have no control over that, but I'll never stop making it. But I think gaining all those other skills being a creator has opened a lot of paths for what I can do for the rest of my life.
What about a YouTube label type situation where you house a ton of YouTube cover artists and you help produce content, you help
I think we kind of
does that exist?
The nice thing about the digital world is that it kind of already is that without needing to be
it's not official.
A label. You know what I mean? We have a distribution platform, we have sort of a marketing platform built in, so it already kind of does have a lot of the resources you would traditionally associate
But
with
more than the new up-and-coming artists. You've been doing this for a second, even down to tagging a video.
Old pro.
But it's the truth. Down to what type of end card works and how to shoot a cover, but also down to what you're tagging your video as.
Totally.
Everything matters.
But that being said, a lot of that stuff is constantly in flux. So sometimes the new up-and-comers know just as much, if not more. I'll work with people who have only been on the digital space for a while, and I will certainly learn things from them about what best practices and stuff. So it's all about just staying a student your whole life and making sure you're constantly learning what the best way to do this or that is.
Knowledge is power.
But as someone who can do everything, what do you think about these, or most things? Yeah. What do you think about these other pop stars or musicians that can't write their own music? They can't direct or film they can't even turn a microphone on.
I think it's more one part of it is that I'm just grateful that when I go into a video shoot or a session with another producer, I don't just have to be I kind of want it to sound like this, or I like that or that. I can be oh look, the EQ on these vocals, let's take down this frequency. I love having the vocabulary and the knowledge to be able to do that. So personally, it just empowers me a lot as an artist. But I think that I believe that moving forward, the fans and music consumers' ability to sort of sense that genuineness, I think is going to become more important. And I think that's why people even, like my music in the first place, is they can read that, this, he wrote this song, he produced it, he was instrumental in the video and all that. And I think as you move forward, I think artists are going to start to have to learn all that, because that's what fans are going to crave, is they're going to crave a product that feels genuinely coming from the mind of that artist rather than a ginormous team and millions of dollars, and I think there's more value to that.
And Cameo is that. So we ask you to check it out if you get some time.
100%.
What you said you're putting together an album, or you have an album, or what's going on?
It's pretty much all done. We have a couple singles that are going to be coming out over the next few months in anticipation, and then dropping an album toward the end of the year that I'm
so excited about.
Is the album going to be all you, or is it some of the other people you've done features with or collaborations?
It's all me. It's all me. Yes. Nice. I wrote every single song, as I said, produced about half of them, and then co-produced the other half. And so it's going to be very 100% Sam. And I'm so excited because the positive reaction I've gotten from Cameo so far from the fans makes me feel good that what's coming is gonna please them.
So if you were to do bigger features in the future, let's say the album does really well and you have the access to do Camila Cabello or Ariana Grande or those, would you do those, or is it important for you to keep in the YouTube?
No. I think what you're finding now is that the YouTube lane and the quote unquote mainstream label lane are blurring more and more every day. Artists from my world are getting the opportunities to work with quote unquote mainstream artists all the time. And so I think you're going to find in a couple years, there's even less of a distinction between radio artists and YouTube artists. And it's really going to be it's all one big music industry.
But it is all about what you produce, right? So it's that one song that takes you from the YouTube lane to the mainstream lane, right?
Yeah.
Right? That one record that could really
For sure.
change it.
Yeah.
And then you win Grammys.
Hey.
That's on the list, I'm sure. Become a part of the Samily.
Yes. The Samily, my fans.
That's his fans.
I like that.
They have a name.
I like that a lot.
Because I think that sense of community and family
beautiful.
is what makes this whole world tick. So it was a perfect fit. Bless you.
Thank you. I'm like getting over something.
Oh no.
Sorry. Stay away.
That's why I'm glad. I'm on
No,
this
it's
couch
good
so
distance
far away.
here. Cameo, that is the single.
Yes.
The video's out. Listen to it. Watch the video. Last thoughts from anybody?
I love that you sang God Bless America.
Yeah.
I love that song. I don't know
It's
what
4th
it
of
is.
July. I was like, what should I do?
Have you done all of the patriotic songs over the years, or just
I
God
haven't
Bless
really. I
America?
feel like that was maybe the first time I did.
When are you
Maybe
going to
I'll
sing
make
at like an NBA game or a Major League Baseball game or something?
Hey, call up my agent. We'll make it happen.
You got to be his agent, Dan.
I can't
He
do that.
has one.
Yeah. I
doesn't
don't
need
think he needs
Dan.
me. I'm not going to help. I'm not helping.
I think he's doing fine without Dan.
I will make it happen on your behalf.
Oh, thank you.
I'll let you know.
Let him
Invite me
know.
to the game. I need tickets and I'll cheer you on.
Perfect.
You give me free tickets, and I'll cheer for you.
Sounds like a fair deal.
You're a lucky guy.
Yeah.
Lucky guy.
Oh, we already know he's a lucky guy. Look at Casey back there.
Your boyfriend has a boot on. Husband, I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Has a boot on.
We were just in Vietnam doing a show there, and we were filming this travelogue video, and they had us play this game with locals, which is like a hacky sack type game where you like kick this birdie around. And by the way, like in Vietnam, they're amazing at it. They like don't even have to look, and they're doing tricks and kicking this up. And they thought it would be funny to have us come and like make fools of ourselves playing it. And Casey unfortunately went for an epic kick and slipped and broke 3 metatarsal bones.
We gotta make it clear. He kicked like the ground or something, right? Because when you were telling me earlier, I thought you meant like you were playing with like a metal ball.
Oh no! He kicked the air and like fell back and like crunched down on his foot in a very unfortunate way.
Is that on video?
It is, but we just saw the cut of the video and they didn't. I think they wanted it to feel like they had an amazing, lovely time. So that's not included. But I'm trying to get the raw footage so we can like pinpoint the moment.
Let's leave out the pain. Let's leave out the hospital visit.
Less of an attractive. Like, come to Vietnam, break your foot.
Wow,
But
love it.
He's a trooper.
Proud of you.
Walked in here.
I'm toting him around the city. Yeah.
Cameo, that is the single, and the video is out, so watch it. Sam Tsui on everything, right? Instagram, Twitter. You're connected, and
I'm
you
easy
have
to
been
find,
for freaking a decade. Anything else?
I think so. Well, you know, he said boyfriend. Are you used to saying husband, or is it still weird?
I'm used to saying husband now. It was definitely. It takes an adjustment.
How long have you guys been married?
We've been married for a year and a half now.
Takes a minute.
Been together for like 100 years. So.
Wow. And 100 years more.
Yes.
Love to the both of you. Thank you so much for spending time with us. It means a lot.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sam Tsui, everybody.
All right.